Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Pregame Network podcast. This is episode 75 of the only gaming news show on the internet, not afraid to piss anybody off. I feel like we've been doing a pretty good job of that lately.
Been keeping up with it. You said you were gonna stick with that, and boy howdy have you.
Oh yes, it's I think the industry needs it. At least somebody to have this type of attitude.
Of course.
So we are back from last week. We'll talk about what we've been playing as per usual, and then jump right into the news proper. For me, it's a very, very short list. Maybe like 3 things: Darktide, Finals, Battlefield. That's pretty much it. Maybe with a little bit of Borderlands sprinkled in there, but that is what I've been playing. And I have stuff and things to say about Battlefield. I've put about 15 hours into it since it came out. I would have had at least 20 at this point, but we went on a finals escapade yesterday, which is fine.
Finals
I
always
love playing that game. Yeah, but I'll let you go and like talk about what you've been playing, because like me talking about Battlefield is probably going to be the bulk of like what I'm going to be talking about.
That's fair. All right. So I mean, obviously, I was playing the finals with you. This week has mainly been me feeling out some fighting games with 2XKO had just come out. You know, I'd played it a little bit, nothing too crazy. Definitely haven't even really got my feet wet with it yet. You know, I got the gacha rotation. I gotta say, I touch on this every week with the gacha rotation, but I have to say it right now. Zenless Zone Zero is probably the most stingy gacha game I've played. Now that I've had it, now that I've gotten a chance to sit down and really play it, I feel like I'm getting as an example, the closest thing I can think of, Genshin Impact, because they're made by the same guys. Genshin Impact, it was like, okay, I really want to, you know, I hit the ground running when I hit the Xbox, and they're giving you all the bonuses, right, whatever. But beyond that, when I'm like, okay, I want to roll for a character, I could look at my list of achievements, I could look at story stuff to do, I could look at all this stuff, do the dailies, and if I put the time in, within short order, I would have what I needed to do a 10 pull, which is, you know, self-explanatory. I'm sure just from playing Destiny Rising, you understand what a 10 pull is, right?
Just like a core activity that you run.
So it's when you actually do the rolls for the gacha element. You could either do 1 at a time, or you could do 10 at a time. I only do I only do the pulls for 10 at a time. But my whole thing with Zenless is like I've rolled on next to nothing in that game. I got like 2 early characters that I like, and I said I'm gonna save, and only like it's not like Girls Frontline where I have pretty much every unit. It's not like Genshin where like I roll reasonably. Zenless, I've only really rolled on like 2 special banners, I would say. And this one that's going on right now, it's going to end in like 2 days. I don't know if I'm going to get this character. I've put 60 rolls in. I have, beyond not getting the one character I want, it's given me dirt 4-star shit. Like I'm just getting throwaway weapon, throwaway weapon, throwaway weapon. And some people will look at that and say like, oh, well, that just happens. That's like the buffer, the filler of the roll. It's like, no. I'm used to getting like occasionally I'll get like a good 4-star character, and you can, you know, you stack them, and that's how you get better versions of the characters, whatever. I needed to vent a little bit because like I've been, you know, I wouldn't say gotcha kick because like I said, it's very in the background, but I've put my time into these and I kind of get the drill at this point. Zenless is very stingy. It's pissing me off. But you're not getting
piss you off too.
Yeah, and as much as a game can, you know. I'm not like sitting here flipping tables or anything, but I'm like, oh, I just want to die if I get one more bad roll. But on the other side, you know, so I got my fighting games, got my gacha. The one thing is a nice little treat because it is right just about the middle of October. I sat down and I started a playthrough of Silent Hill 2. The original, the classic. Yes, yeah, the original. It's been a while since I played it last. When I played it last, I played the PC version, and I used this enhanced mod, which is like these guys have spent year over year finely tuning it to make sure it matches the original assets and restoring some of the effects that didn't really work on the broken PC port. And before that, I played the PC port by itself, and before that, I played on the PlayStation. This is the first time I really sat down and emulated the PlayStation 2 version. And I did so in a way where like I didn't jazz up the graphics or anything. I ran it at the standard internal resolution. I try to make it look as close to accurate as you can. I know a lot of people love to like crank it up to 4K, and you can do some really cool and neat things with emulation, but I wanted it to be more in line with as much as I can remember on the screen, right? And Man, I gotta say, like I've talked a bit about Silent Hill, Resident Evil, all these games. Silent Hill 2 has such a great atmosphere. I was just blown away by it. That's the only thing I really want to get into with it. Is just it's such a good looking PlayStation 2 game. It's spectacular, and you know it has some gameplay shortcomings, but I am enjoying my time as much as you can. An oppressive, you know, scary game as you're supposed to. You know, I'm about halfway through. It is a relatively short game. It's been a while. There were a few points where I'm like, I put it down for just the perfect amount of time where I don't remember all the puzzle solutions. You know, I'm getting tripped up by like, you know, the backtracking aspect, and that's a good way to go back to some of these games, especially Silent Hill. Resident Evil, you tend to have a bit more leniency with like playing it over and over again. There's a bit more rewarding gameplay there. Silent Hill, you want to put down for a bit, and so I've been enjoying it. By the time we talk next, I'm probably going to finish it after we're done talking today. But no, it was very pleasant, and it was just. It's not like a nostalgia thing for me, because even though I do have some nostalgia for Silent Hill 2, obviously, but it's just I was blown away when I sat down and I tweaked all the settings to get it like just looking good as it did without, you know, 4K textures, upscaling, blah, blah, blah. I just sat it down 4:3 as it was, and I was just blown away by how good the effects, like, still hold up, you know? So,
yeah.
It is a masterpiece of a game, that Silent Hill 2. But, yeah, that was pretty much it for me.
Oh, okay. So, I probably should get all of my Battlefield thoughts out now, since...
You have the floor.
Yeah. So I haven't beaten the campaign yet. I'm more than halfway through it at this point, but I've been bouncing back between that and multiplayer for, you know, obvious reasons.
Yeah, of course.
The campaign is fine. You know, it's just another military, like, first-person shooter campaign. There's really not much to say about it. The writing isn't spectacular.
It's kind of a nothing.
Yeah, it's whatever. I will say, however, that I do appreciate a shorter campaign. So the length of that does not really bother me. It's like a 5 or 6 hour playthrough, give or take. So that doesn't really bother me. The last like FPS single player campaign that really knocked my socks off was probably Titanfall 2, and I don't think anything is coming close to that.
What did you feel about Modern Warfare 2019?
I thought it was very good,
but it didn't blow you away like a Titanfall 2. Like they're on different tiers.
Yeah, very much so. And I would have liked it better if so spoiler alert in case you haven't played Modern Warfare 2019 at this point, but there's this mission at the very end where you have to capture the what the hell is his name? The Jackal or the Butcher of something, like one of the main antagonists. You have to capture him and bring him back to the safe house and interrogate him, but the whole theme of this mission is like we keep on getting him and then he gets away, or we can't do what we want to do, blah, blah, blah. So like your tactic of choice in this last level of Modern Warfare 2019 is you abduct his wife and his son, and you're threatening them in front of him. And it was very like on the rail. Like you couldn't do anything serious for obvious reasons, but like it didn't like ruin it for me, but it just like, do you remember when Mass Effect 3 was out and there was that whole controversy with the ending of like the choices didn't really matter? Yeah. That's what I felt like. Okay. That being said,
I didn't want to I'll more than willing to talk about Modern Warfare 2019. I didn't mean to derail your whole Battlefield thing this early, but my only thing about Modern Warfare 2019 is I do remember that mission. I appreciate the fact that you play as Gaz in that mission, because it really feels like Price is like kind of has you on a leash, because you know it's like you can either do nothing, you can pull the trigger, and it turns out there's Price never put bullets in the gun, so he was testing you and all that kind of shit. But I get what you're saying. I brought up Modern Warfare 2019 because I'm trying to gauge, you know, if Titanfall 2 is at the top and Modern Warfare 2019 is below that. I guess there another tier lower is where you would put Battlefield 6.
Yeah, I mean that's not like a definitive ranking, because I don't even think Battlefield 6 is gonna rate anywhere in like my top.
I didn't mean 1, 2, 3. I meant like great, good, average. You know, I'm just trying to find out.
I would definitely say average, but like they're clearly trying to emulate some of the stuff that. And I was getting to this point too. They're clearly trying to emulate some of the stuff that Modern Warfare 2019 had in their campaign, Like for example, the Clean House mission is probably
I
one of the most notable
yes.
single player like military missions in recent gaming history.
Yes.
Like that was something else in video games. And I actually just played through that mission, or the Battlefield 6 equivalent of that mission today, and it doesn't even come close.
Yeah, I
not
was
even
gonna
a little
say,
bit.
I don't know much about the quality, but I did see it in a trailer. I'm like, oh, they're just doing Clean House, aren't they? And I guess I have my confirmation.
Now that I'm talking about it too, like there's a lot of different set pieces in Modern Warfare 2019 that like are extremely well done. The Clean House is obviously number one. Then it's the assault on the embassy for me. That I thought that mission was awesome. Because it was based off of the real life siege of Benghazi, I think.
Yes.
So that was really, really cool. And then after that was the Highway of Death scene. There's like a whole list of set pieces from Modern Warfare 2019 that are just fantastic. But yeah, Battlefield 6 never manages to get to those heights, but which is fine. Like no one's buying Battlefield for the campaign, and we all understand that. And like fucking fuck you to that IGN reviewer who gave it a 5 out of 10. Like I probably would put it at like a 7. Like it's fine. You know, it accomplishes what it needs to accomplish, and that's it. So, that's the campaign. No one's really buying Battlefield for the campaign. The multiplayer is definitely a lot of fun. Although I will say, I went through like a solid like adjustment period because they must have changed a bunch of stuff from the beta. Because I have just been getting stuffed for the past couple hours, I would say. And however, the last like handful of matches that I played before we started this recording session, I managed to get I was match made with a squad who was actually like playing their roles as you would expect a Battlefield squad to do. And because of that, we were just fucking steamrolling. Like I was doing very good, like myself. Like I usually play as assault or support. I happened to be playing assault, but like every time I went down, there was somebody behind me with a defibrillator bringing me back to life, or resupplying me with ammo, or giving me health back, or whatever. And I actually was having a fantastic time just playing solo, but with a team that was actually playing the game that it was supposed to, like how it's supposed to be played. So, not that like my mind needed changing, but I don't think I was getting like the full experience of Battlefield 6 up until those last handful of games. And like when you inevitably get it, like that'll obviously alleviate a lot of the solo woes that I've had.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, and I plan on going out of my way to find like a dedicated group of players that I could squad up with on a regular basis, just because this game, I don't know if it's gonna be like my new Destiny 2. I think it has the potential because just the scale of the game, and again, I'm only entering like the beginning of my thoughts, rant, opinions, whatever, of this, but they seem to have built this game the way that you would expect a Battlefield game to play. So, and obviously that's a good thing, but I plan on going out of my way on finding like a persistent group of guys that I can play with the same way that I did with Destiny, because I found like a whole clan in Destiny that played it as much as I did and liked it as much as I did, and that turned into like its own monster. So I plan on doing that.
Yeah.
So
it definitely makes sense. Like, even though it's not a game that necessarily requires it, it's definitely better to, run as a squad. You know, it just makes about anything better.
It definitely doesn't require it, but it's so encouraged to the point where, like, you're really going to be banging your head against the wall, so to speak, at least to an extent, if you're just lone wolfing it. Like, this is not COD. But the TTK, in my opinion, is a little bit too quick. Like that kind of feels like COD a little bit, but everything else definitely not. So far, all the skins, and that was a big point of concern for a lot of different people. So far, all the skins are extremely grounded, and very realistic. I haven't run into anything that was like cartoonish or ridiculous or bonkers or anything like that. Not in the same way that COD is. I don't think they'll jump the shark that much. Granted, we won't know until the shop launches, and the first season is coming out. What is it, like later this month or early November, something like that. So we'll see how that works. So the next thing I want to talk about with Battlefield is the optimization. Anthony, this game is so well optimized. I'm kind of blown away. It's a 60 some odd gig game. You know how like every time you update a driver or install an update, or the game the game patches itself or whatever, you have to quote unquote recompile its shaders, and that takes like 10 fucking minutes or whatever it is. The very first time I downloaded Battlefield and booted it up, it took like 30 seconds. Like it went by in no time. I was shocked, honestly. So the optimization in this game is phenomenal, like way better than I thought that it was going to be. I did get like 1 or 2 crashes, but after I rebooted, that was fine. So they'll fix whatever that was. So that was a big point for me, was the optimization. It's very well optimized. And I can't believe it was like DICE and EA to take that first step. Maybe it's the fact that they have basically limitless resources at their disposal. They can afford to optimize it the way that it should be. But like that really shouldn't be an excuse, you know?
I get you. I mean, yeah, it's just to go along with that, you know, when you talk about resources at your disposal, it's not an excuse, as you say. You know, there are ways where smaller teams can optimize, and there's a lot more that goes on that we've talked about plenty. I would say that it's definitely beneficial in that AAA space, because if you can't make it up with, you know, just raw power and you don't have the talent, just throw more money at it. Eventually something good will happen, you know?
Yeah. Something else that I took notice of, or at least that they have said publicly, was that the skill-based matchmaking is at a minimum. Like, yeah, there's team balancing, but it's really just primarily connection-based, which I believe, because the slowest that it's ever taken me to find a match so far is like 5 seconds, 6 seconds, something like that. The fastest is maybe 2.5. Like, the matchmaking is unbelievably fast right now. Granted, this game is still at its peak. I'm curious what the Steam player numbers are. Right now, they're at 448,000 players. They're number 2 on the most played games on Steam at the moment, which is crazy. They beat out Dota. They beat out Megabonk, Marvel Rivals, PUBG. The only thing that it's not beating is Counter-Strike 2. And they are a relatively close 200,000 under them. The 24-hour peak for Battlefield has been 656,000. I don't think it's going to top that, just because of the core group of people that are interested in this game, like, have already bought it, and I feel like that's the peak, which is fine. So that all plays into the ridiculously short matchmaking times, which is why I also think that they are not lying through their teeth when they say that SBMM is like at a minimum. So that's good. Let's see what else. I have yet to fuck around in Portal, although I have seen some crazy stuff. Within the first 24 hours, the first thing on the server browser list for Portal was shipment 24/7. So naturally, I loaded in, and it was so much worse than playing shipment on COD.
Well,
like,
of course.
you think that like the spawn, die, and repeat is bad in COD. You literally can't even move around, like, because of the way that the Battlefield sandbox is and all the gadgets they let players use. The new retractable ladder that the assault class has, people have just been climbing to the very top of the shipping containers and just farming that way. I mean, it's hilarious, don't get me wrong, but I just couldn't just sit there and spend the entire game in a respawn screen. So I have yet to like actually dive in and try to create something. I'm thinking of making like some kind of a horde or a survival mode. I also thought about making remaking the Onslaught mode that Bad Company 2 had. That was a lot of fun. Yeah. But apparently the tools that they are giving us in Portal are ridiculously powerful. I saw a Portal session of a guy. He made Space Invaders that looks like Space Invaders using a ton of custom of scripting and like asset editing and all this stuff. And it looked exactly not exactly like Space Invaders, but it was 2D. It sounded like it. Everything was like pixelated graphics on this little like kiosk thing that he was playing. It was really, really cool. But the point being is, if we have enough creative control as a community to do something like that, even though it's like seemingly trivial, God only knows what the community is going to cook up. In Portal. So that's really cool. I think it all boils down to the fact that instead of just telling the players to go fuck themselves and DICE and EA doing basically whatever they wanted with the IP for Battlefield 6, they actually listened to the community at large and implemented all or the vast majority of stuff that people were asking for. They did not get rid of the closed weapons game playlist. That is still omnipresent, which is nice. If you want to play like classic Battlefield weapon systems, then you can go play that. If you don't care, then you don't have to use it. So that's great. You know, obviously the 4 classes are back. The only con, like genuinely for a Battlefield offering, is the lack of a server browser. Although they do have it in Portal, it's not in like the core game. Yeah. Which kind of sucks, because that really kind of speaks volumes for the longevity of this game. I don't think it's going to be dying anytime soon, but no, but the server browsers certainly help, because aside from you know, it just being a better tool for players to find new games, server culture of that, say what you will about it being, you know, click heavy, or, you know, it has its own issues with server owners and stuff like that. Like, that's just a pocket of players you could just have alongside your matchmaking system. So it's like, why not? Yeah, why would you not include that? But I mean, it is what it is. So overall, I think Battlefield is doing very, very good. They made all the right decisions. Did you hear about the outage that the EA app was going through? I heard, yes. Like after the first day. Yeah. So if you don't know, if you bought the game on the EA app, I don't know why anybody would do that, but that's neither here nor there. If you bought the game on the EA app, they had some sort of like bug or glitch within the app itself that you just couldn't launch the game. It just wouldn't let you. And it told you that you didn't own the product, which really sucks, obviously. Which Vince Zampella, the franchise head for Battlefield, literally went on Twitter and was like, "You should just buy it on Steam." So that tickled me. That was funny. Yeah. However, in response to this outage, they put out like one of those infographics with like a whole paragraph on it, like apologizing and blah blah. Yeah. And okay, so I think that they did right with this. It wasn't just like, we're sorry. Yes, they said that they're sorry, but they also provided all the people that were affected by this 12 60-minute double XP tokens, which is good. Yeah. And everyone who was affected by this is getting season 1 of whatever season is coming up for free. And I think a discount on the following season, something like that. That's a pretty big goodwill move. Yeah. Like, EA isn't stupid. They know they have the population, right? They have a tenuous grasp of the situation they're in. Yeah. And I mean, at the end of the day, Battlefield could not afford another 2042. So they needed this win, and thank God they got it, because I for one didn't want to see this game die. Yeah. I'm sure plenty of other people didn't want to either. So all in all, Battlefield, definitely a thumbs up. I definitely would recommend paying full price for it. I think there's enough on offer where the value proposition is there. And I am excited to jump back in, but I definitely want to find a dedicated like group of players that I can play with consistently, because I plan on playing this pretty regularly. Yeah. I think that was it as far as like Battlefield stuff that I wanted to talk about. Let me just make sure. Yeah, you definitely. Yeah, no, you definitely. I mean, you gave your impressions and all that good stuff. So unless there was anything else, you know, you touched on the news a little bit. You know, so. Yeah. The Embarks, the guys who make the finals, wished Battlefield a like a happy launch, and they were, you know, proud or happy for them, blah blah blah, and then went on to say the finals will be supported for years to come. I was like, yes,
There you go.
win.
That's all you need. Because you know, one of the things you noted and something I noted when I played the beta is that, I mean, obviously, first and foremost, they're two very different games. It's not like EA and
that was
DICE.
something else that I wanted to talk about. I know where you're going with this, but
it's not like EA and DICE decided to make a Bad Company 3 or that would be a closer, you know, competitor to the finals. But like, you said it, I said it. The destruction in the finals is just better.
It's not even that it's just better. It is a lot better.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, that's like what the game is built around. And
of course.
to a point, that is one of the pillars of Battlefield as it is anyway. So I guess Battlefield is kind of built around its destruction, or it's at the very least one of its selling features. But it is like not even close. The difference between destruction between those two games.
Capabilities, the dynamic Battlefield and everything like that.
Yeah, the finals does it way better. The interaction between different objects in the environment, but they just updated this like a month or two ago, and it shows. There is a ton of different structures and assets in Battlefield that you just can't do anything with. Like they're not going to move. And it is what it is. But I think for anybody out there who is wondering what the best destruction in video games is right now, it is unequivocally the finals. And you can take that to the bank.
Yeah, we at one point we gave it its due credit. I think the last time we compared Battlefield 6's destruction to the finals, I think we gave it its due credit, or maybe it was when they did put out the update. But yeah, the finals, the destruction is a lot of fun in the finals. My only complaint with it is that they don't give me enough tools to just constantly be destroying buildings, but I understand. But yeah, goody.
I think that Battlefield does a well enough job to be an immersive experience. To fit within the confines of like of the whole tone and theme of the game, because in the finals, like, you don't have all of these tiny assets that are sitting around for like decor to make sure the world looks lived in and alive and blah blah blah. Like the maps they're pretty empty as far as like raw architecture goes, and like decor and different what am I trying to say? You know where I'm going with this? Like, it's, you know, if you walk into a building in Battlefield, you see furniture, you see pictures on the wall, you see plants, you see electronics and like computers and TVs, you see like carpets and
props and the like.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a bunch of that in the buildings. You go into a room in the finals and it's just an empty room, but that is like that to facilitate the level of destruction that they have. So they are going about it two different ways. Obviously, the finals has much better destruction, like objectively, but Battlefield is more immersive, I would say, and sprinkles enough destruction in there that it still feels like a Battlefield. So two different things, but yeah, finals definitely is better destruction, and I am still having fun with Battlefield 6. Anyway, that was my first impressions / raw thoughts of Battlefield 6. Looking forward to where the game goes, and yeah. All right, well, I posted something in the news channel about Halo. The veteran art director left Halo Studios, and he said that he will share the full story when it is, quote, absolutely safe, unquote.
Yeah, there's a lot of... Yeah, there's typically a lot of red tape when it comes to departures. I mean, don't get me wrong, not all of them are ironclad, but, you know, it's enough to scare a lot of people from talking when...
It probably has something to do with like an NDA or something, but I also based on the phrasing, it's like this Halo was not managed correctly and it was doomed from the start. That's what I get from it.
Pretty much. I mean, Halo hasn't been in good hands for a long time. I would say, like, I like Halo 4 for what it is. I don't hate 5 like a lot of people do, and I think if it had a good gameplay structure, I'm sure that's, you know, not a terribly uncommon position to hold on Halo, but.
I mean, Infinite was good. Infinite just kind of got the shaft of how it was made. Like, the multiplayer was very good, but I think that the era of Halo was long past by the time it came out. So it didn't have the people who were like excited for Halo kind of got screwed just because of the way that it was made, and then also because of the way that it was made, they couldn't put out updates or content in a meaningful cadence, so it just fizzled out. And I'm actually curious to see, because obviously we don't have any kind of player numbers for console, but on PC on Steam, there's 3,100 people in game right now, which is like more than I thought, to be honest with you, but still definitely low.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a bad spot. I mean, I remember following what you had said about Halo, what you pointed out about Halo. I pointed out that this woman who was quote unquote chief of staff, Melissa BOON, just some diversity hire woman who had a lot of things to say about modern culture stuff. I'm not going to get into, but if you can think of a bad position or a worrying position, she had it. She was open about it, and she talked about that being reflective in her hiring practices. And she had the ball from slightly before they announced, like, oh, the future of Halo's in Unreal, and they did that little demo up until like last week. She's moved on to Riot Games. I don't know how these people fail upward, but like I can only imagine with someone like her at the helm for like the formative years of like an ongoing Halo project, that project's probably, it's already in turmoil in some way, shape, or form. So while I don't necessarily always believe like, oh, this guy's got the inside scoop, the tell all, something like that, right? I have a feeling that gut feeling says there's stuff going on anyway. I mean, the series has been mismanaged for so long, but I guess we'll see, won't we?
Oh yes.
Yeah. I don't know if this lines up with the I mean, there's still rumors that they're going to be remaking Combat Evolved, so we'll see if that happens and blah 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 and all the stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they should just let the Halo IP just let it go at this point. Like, leave Infinite on life support, and the same thing with the Master Chief Collection, quite frankly. But I don't really trust Microsoft with anything anymore. So
yeah, the funny thing is, I mean, you mentioned Infinite and the Master Chief Collection, is those two games were kind of designed to be life support systems, because the Master Chief Collection is like, here's fucking everything but 5. And we will make small tweaks and adjustments, and they updated it for like what felt like 11 years or however long the Master Chief Collection's been out. Master Chief Collection feels so weird to me because it had like a limp launch and then like 2 different periods years later where they did major updates and the game was just better and improved,
I mean, but I think limp is being generous. The game had a disastrous launch. You couldn't fucking play it like for a long time.
I was being kind to the dead. And just but Infinite was designed to be not platform game is the wrong word for it, but the reason it's called fucking Halo Infinite is because it was just going to be Halo, and it just gets content. And at this point, it would have had a lot of content, but somehow we just never got the fucking content. I feel like we've been talking about Halo Infinite needs content for what feels like 6 years. When did Infinite come out?
Oh god, Infinite came out, was it 2018? Was it before or after Modern Warfare?
You know what? I think I got my wires crossed somewhere, because we were playing Halo 5 during the lockdown.
No way, it came out 2021?
Yeah, that's right. It was later. I was getting it mixed up with Halo 5 because we played a lot of Halo 5 in 2020. I don't know how much of that you remember, because I think everybody was drinking. This is like this is early lockdown. There was a lot of drinking going on.
I was throwing them back for sure.
Even I was. If you listen to some of those recordings, even I'm slurring my words a little bit. But yeah, Infinite was designed to be, here's a really good base, let's add content to it. And I don't think it ever reached the lofty heights that 5 did with like the mosh pits and like the fiestas and all that stuff like that, where it's like, if the core game fails, you have these fun party modes, and they just never did it. So I
kind of feel like playing Halo again now. Talking about it, like, because I really enjoyed Halo Infinite. Yeah, it was a really fun feeling game.
Yes.
Yeah. Just the fact that like we need to exclaim that in the manner that you just did is so depressing.
Yeah, it's tragic, man. Hey, Halo, I love Halo 3. A lot of people love Halo 2. I can get behind it. CE, if you really wanted to, you could sit me down in front of 4. I could play 4. I enjoyed 5 for whatever the hell it was, even though it was weaker, and Infinite felt good to play. I really just... Man, Imagine having control of Halo for as long as Microsoft has and just doing so many wrong things with it.
Like, Microsoft just can't seem to get anything right now.
Yeah.
Actually, they couldn't get anything right since the fucking Xbox One. Oh god, that's like 7 years ago.
Yeah,
maybe more.
A little bit more than that, quite a bit more than that. But as far as the Xbox One is concerned, that's a whole conversation in itself. They just that needed a different guy fronting that. You know, you could have gotten away with so much if you just didn't like focus on things the way you did, or you didn't have Matic or whatever the fuck his name was coming out and saying, "Oh, you could just play the 360 if you want." I'm like, oh, that's not the best way, you know, to go about it. But you know, yeah, that's Halo and Xbox. You know, we could sit here and mope about it all day long if we really wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, we just kind of got off on a tangent, but
yeah.
What the hell was I saying? I was talking about something specific. I don't remember. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so moving on, I guess. I mean, I just got finished talking about Battlefield, so I guess COD is the next logical step there. Very, very small. I'm not going to harp on this whatsoever. But Treyarch put out a tweet. Actually, you posted this. I'm sure you remember. About open matchmaking being confirmed at launch. Open matchmaking with minimal skill consideration will be the default matchmaking for Black Ops 7. That, my friend, is a total panic move, and if I've ever seen one.
Absolutely.
That's really all I have to say about it. I feel like COD is the closest it's ever been to dying with Black Ops 7 than ever before. Maybe you remember things differently than I do, but I feel like morale overall has not been this bad. And also just by the numbers of like the beta versus the Battlefield beta, like people just don't care anymore. They just don't care.
I think we're drifting close to where the game was at 4, but I don't think you have. And this isn't like, I don't want to get philosophical, but like if you look beyond raw numbers, right? There's a certain die-hardness that kept people with Call of Duty when Black Ops 4 was there. Like there's a group of people that are die-hard Black Ops, and there's a certain thing around where Call of Duty was in that Black Ops 3 to Black Ops 4, where it's like you had people with positive energy. They were playing it because they liked it, even though things were getting bad. Now with Black Ops 7, everybody's just angry and filled with hate and spun up by streamers and content creators and all these people. It's just like, I don't know where that looks, but I'd argue that depending on how Black Ops 7 launches, they could be in a worse position than they were with Black Ops 4, which would be something else.
I think they are well on their way to that. Oh. And I played the multiplayer and the zombies portion of the beta. I could not stick around for multiplayer. It was just I said this last week, it's just not for me anymore. Like it's just obviously not for my generation of gamers anymore. And you know what? Fine, whatever. And then I tried the zombies mode, and it was literally a fucking carbon copy of Black Ops 6. And while I think that it was a good, like Black Ops 6 Zombies was a lot of fun. I actually really enjoyed my time with it. I mean, I don't know, like it's the same thing, you know. It's just it's literally the same thing. Yeah. So I'm so apathetic towards COD right now. The only thing that could probably bring me back at this point is, I don't know, man. Going back to what they were, but that's what we've been saying all along.
For a while,
yeah. But anyway, I don't really want to talk about that anymore. Yeah. That's really all I have to say anyway.
We're back to that, you know, it's like all those years ago, sitting in recliners, just going, this conversation is making me tired. Let's move on to something else.
Okay, so let's see. There's one other, like, what?
No, I was gonna say I got something. If you're scraping the bottom of the barrel, if you need some time, I've got something. Because why not?
All right. I mean, I got 3 more things, but go for it. I've been talking long enough.
Yeah. Let me get this out there. So. There were a few rumors circulating, and these rumors slowly became multiple outlets reporting that Ubisoft canceled an Assassin's Creed game set after the Civil War. I think we briefly talked about this. Yeah. It would have had a black former slave assassin going up against the then new KKK, right? At this point, it's looking to be more report than rumor. because aside from everybody kind of, talking about it, you have the usual handful of outlets that are that lean a particular way, writing their long-winded reports on how it's cowardly or cancel culture, yada yada yada, all that stuff, right? But before I say anything, I have to make this clear, as well, know this, and our dedicated weekly listeners know this.
All 5 of them.
Hey, don't bash them. That's our audience, you son of a bitch. But I need to make this clear. So there's certain things just bear repeating. I do not like it when culture throttles ideas, right? I will always say that there are certain cultural things that don't make sense, or there are certain ideas that without coercion and tremendous backing, they fall into obscurity or die off naturally, as they should, and that there are always examples of people buying into things they don't like or believe based on social pressures, and it's all very unnatural and uncomfortable. My general thing is that I don't like it when there's a force that applies pressure to culture on a global scale, things that change or prevent or censor things that are involved in the creative process. I don't like that. When we were growing up, it was the religious, traditional, conservative forces. They had the ball. Last 10 years, 10, 15 years, it's been the progressive, identity-driven, and authoritarian groups. And both of the groups had puritanical practices from different angles, right? Now, that out of the way, this cancellation and the others that we're probably going to see more of as time goes on is a kind of rubber banding response to the shit we've been dealing with for however long. It's not quite global pressure. It's more of a reaction to what we've been dealing with and not some new pressure. Not yet, anyway. This core idea of this potential setting is just an unfortunate casualty of a parent company distancing themselves from whatever motives and practices and worldviews that got them the negative coverage in the first place. Which is funny because they could have just made this game instead of jamming Yasuke into the Japanese outing. You'd have people rolling their eyes at, black guy running around killing the KKK, I wonder why they decided to make that game, even if it is more accurate than the Japanese one. But you can get it out of your system in a setting that doesn't drift far from history and that more people can get on board with, because it's, it makes sense, right? And I'm not saying it would have done well, or that they would have handled it fair or accurately, because it's Assassin's Creed in the 2020s. Huh. But you take the wins where you can get them, It would have been a better process than what they did for Shadows, where they hired academics, quote unquote, who participate in the revisionism to make their historical takes work, or they essentially write fan fiction and they just write it as fact, and it's just this huge, terrible mess. And they had like that one guy from Shadows who I don't know if he ever came back, that Lockley guy, because like he was the guy that was basically saying that Yasuke was a samurai all along and the Japanese don't know any better, blah 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 blah. But personally, my biggest issue is that I don't trust a lot of companies to handle their own lore anymore. Sure. Really don't trust Ubisoft to at all in judging history fairly. It used to be that they would take a setting, gently insert their own story into it, and they'd be reasonably respectful to the characters and the events in that period, while the more extravagant stuff was saved for their characters and the modern setting and stuff like that. But it was never perfect. Even as far back as Assassin's Creed 1, sometimes they got things wrong, like they nudged things a bit more heavily for their plot, or sometimes their focus on different periods is just uneven, like they can't cover everything. It was never a historical, masterpiece, but they used to try. Year over year, however, they do a bit more for the modern stuff, or they've been getting more sloppy, say what you will about it. You've had real art being censored because we've just evolved into a group of immature sissies that just can't handle the nature of the human body. We've got existing historical artifacts being censored so we can promote modern day inclusivity. We got French people talking like British people because they just can't be bothered to get the right voice actors. We've got Greeks looking like Africans because they want to be more inclusive. You got modern day flags and colors stuck into past settings because the interns intern that Googled nationality flag somehow made it past the multiple experts you pay millions for this accuracy, and you keep telling me about it in your press circuits. This is all to say, I'm ranting a little bit, but this is all to say that beyond the Assassin's Creed formula just being completely done to death, beyond the franchise being reduced to just an easily consumable ARPG series that casual players can eat up and then forget, beyond us being like 8 or 9 games removed from the original narrative, and depending on who you ask, 6 or 8 games removed from some kind of quality, they also managed to have the worst bits of modern negative polish where they're not even trying with the historical stuff anymore, and they just want to jam modern stuff in there. And none of what I just said really fucking means anything. All I'm just trying to say is that, like, you have people going, oh my god, all these sensitive people, they denied us peak storytelling. We could have had Django Unchained Assassin's Creed. I'm just like, you stupid motherfuckers, the games still suck regardless of the setting. We didn't steal some golden Assassin's Creed from you. In fact, I didn't do anything. All I said was, hey, that doesn't make sense. I'm not interested in Assassin's Creed, but now you're really off the reservation with this one, you know? So it's just, I don't know. So it's looking more and more confirmed that, you know, this has been canceled, and that's pretty much what I have to say on that particular cancellation. But as a kind of a last bit, I want to remind everybody we still don't have the sales numbers for Shadows. You know, the game that was supposedly supposed to just, you know, defy all expectations, and Assassin's Creed is just the best thing ever, you know. People have pieced together that it might have sold around 2.5 million around launch. You know, maybe. But Ubisoft has only really kicked around the ever nebulous player count thing, and you know, some people might, you know, say in response to me, it's like, who cares? I'm like, I don't know, they do. They always seem like whenever there's a controversy or something before a launch, they're always keen to make sure it's sales, not players. Everyone everywhere else, it's just players for some nebulous reason, you know. But you know, whatever. It's already gone and done. I don't really know how much more we could really talk about Assassin's Creed until whatever next gets announced. I'm pretty sure it was recently confirmed that they didn't the what the hell is it called, when Tencent, remember when Tencent bought into Ubisoft? I forget exactly what the thing was going on, but you remember that, right?
Yes, I do.
Yes. I forget the exact number, but it's like they essentially bought the dip that was Ubisoft when they were going through the Shadows.
Buy like the majority of shares or something like that.
They have a powerful controlling portion. I forget the exact numbers, and it's kind of embarrassing because we talked about it. I definitely mentioned it specifically, but that venture has kind of come through. There's like a new studio within, and they're being handed Assassin's Creed and Rainbow Six and more than a few. So it's almost like they're the people that may have been making this new one anyway. It's probably going to be under new leadership for the next Assassin's Creed. I think that's all but certain, except for the ones that are in development, like whatever that Salem Witch one was being made or whatnot, you know. But
yeah, Assassin's Creed dropped off of my radar a long time ago.
Yeah.
So, whatever. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Machine Games. They hinted at the next Wolfenstein, which I hope to God is true. Like a month or so ago, the head of Machine Games, what's his name, Dirk Gustafsson, unfortunate name, said that envisioned Wolfenstein as a trilogy. And obviously, yeah, I mean, they left it wide open for a third game. But then they posted something on Twitter thanking their fans for 15 incredible years, blah, blah, and they put out a graphic with it. It's split into 6 different pieces. The first 3 are obviously the Wolfenstein, like the first 3 Wolfenstein games, New Order, Old Blood, and New Colossus. The second 3, the first one is Young Blood, which was awful. Had to get that jab in there.
Yeah.
Then it was Indiana Jones, which just came out, and the 6th one is just a big old question mark, and people are speculating that it is Wolfenstein 3 or whatever
they would end up calling it.
Yeah, and I really hope that's the case, because I know I told you this recently, but I just played through all of the Wolfenstein games minus Youngblood. and I'm ready for the conclusion of that trilogy. So,
yeah, I mean, my thing about Wolfenstein, we kind of talked on it already, but like now just thinking about it again is like my problem isn't like, obviously I have my hesitations about, you know, the writing staff behind and just staff in general behind the series post Wolfenstein 2, because, you know, that they were the developers behind Wolfenstein 2 and Youngblood were comfortably vocal, and they said some things that make you kind of go, am I really behind this? But my major thing is ignoring who would be putting it together for a moment. Like, this rebooted Wolfenstein, I guess, timeline, sector, whatever you want to call it, like this new, if you have the classic, then you have the return, and then you have this. It's kind of like, where would you go from here? Because you had the retelling, the reboot in Wolfenstein, you know, I always fuck this up. It's the
New Order.
New Order, that's right. I even if you just mentioned, I always get confused. You have the New Order, yeah, which is just like, okay, back to square one, Nazis are winning, right? And then you have the prequel with the Old Blood, and then you have the New Colossus, which is the direct sequel, and then you have the Young Blood. And it's just like, you have time skipped yourself and fucking finalized everything. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna tell a midquel, like in between Young Blood and the second game, to kind of like make that? But it's like, you resolved the conflict, replaced it with a worse conflict, and now you want to go back to that. Well, like, what do you do?
Well, I'll tell you what they do. They completely disavow Youngblood. There's no reason why it actually needs to be quote unquote canon. And then the vast majority of Wolfenstein fans will be so okay with that. It won't matter. I mean, and I know that is not the first time a game developer has done something like that. It was a smaller title, it was very poorly received, and it came out like 6 or 7 years ago. Like, if they just said, hey, we're just gonna make Wolfenstein 3 as if Youngblood never happened, and then just tell the story of BJ Blazkowicz's twin daughters, like following the second game, or I'm calling it the second game. I know it's the third technically, but following the second game, I feel like nobody would care at all. And then as far as like where they go with the story, all they did in the New Colossus was eliminate Frau Engel. Like, Hitler's still out there. The entire Nazi Reich is still a thing. All of America is still under siege. Like, there's still plenty of story to tell. And I definitely think they could do it. Like, all they would have to do is say, hey, we know Youngblood wasn't well received. We're just gonna go back and tell the story that we originally wanted to tell. Like, and I think it's just that simple. And the only thing that would be standing in their way would be who owns Machine Games now? Is that Microsoft technically?
Yeah, up the chain, it's Microsoft, who's part of the whole Bethesda ZeniMax buyouts.
It would either be their like direct publisher or themselves. It would, one of those two. That would be the only thing standing in their way. So that's just my opinion on it, because I would happily pay for a third Wolfenstein game.
Yeah. I think Machine Games probably has a bit more leeway just because of all the purchases. I think they've gone the most smoothly. Although I have little to say as far as their exploits, you know, under the ZeniMax, the whole ZeniMax banner. I would say I have little to really say about it. I don't think it's paid off quite as much. I do think Machine Games is probably the only one that delivered something that everyone up the chain at Microsoft was happy with, so it's possible they as a studio have a bit more leeway, you know?
Yeah. But I would fucking love it. Wolfenstein 3. Yeah. I love those games. Let's see what else we got. Okay, so I guess two more things from me. Number one is, I just had it, god damn it. Oh, here it is. Rule number one in that movie. Go.
Yeah, it's Aladdin. Come on.
Okay, all right.
Come on.
All right. FBC Firebreak put out their big overhaul Remedy put out their big overhaul to FBC Firebreak, and surprise, it did nothing. I mean, yeah, people bought it, and like, tried it and whatnot, but it wasn't anything to move the needle. Like there's
Yeah.
nobody asked for this game.
I mean, I haven't sampled the new content to the patch or anything, but I'm gonna say right now, the state that game is in, it doesn't matter what your content. You also need something. You need like a spark. Doesn't matter how good the tinder is or whatnot, like or how much fuel you're putting on the fire. If there's no fire, you're not gonna get anywhere. Like that game needs like a strong kick in the ass and a way to get like word of mouth going again. Yeah. Like it needs more than just. It could have been the best patch ever. That's not enough in a situation this game is in.
Yeah, and to take it a step further, they need to do better with the shooting mechanics. Like that is probably number one to me. Mm-hmm. Like maybe, yeah, that spark that you're talking about is extremely important, and that is ultimately what they need to get people to buy and play the game. But it just doesn't feel that great to play. You know. It's built in the same engine as Control was built in. I think it's called Northlight. And Remedy obviously has a knack for making third-person shooters. See the entire Max Payne series and Control and Alan Wake. But they don't. It doesn't seem like they have a solid grasp on how to make like a really compelling, good-feeling FPS. And that, like, say what you will about Destiny, but at least the moment-to-moment gunplay mechanics feel phenomenal. So, like, that's just something that's a core pillar that you need to nail down for this game to go anywhere, in my opinion. I think this game is going to be shut down within 6 months, and that's generous.
Yeah, it's possible.
They're probably just hemorrhaging cash. Okay, so the last thing that I'm going to talk about is it is in fact Destiny. You posted something what was it, today? It was earlier today, right?
I think so, yes.
So let me just read the exact thing because it'll be so much easier to read it. All right, data shows that Destiny 2's total player count has now fallen below the Curse of Osiris lows, the point where Bungie once said it was weeks away from shutting the game down entirely. So back in the day, I think it was like 2018 maybe, Destiny 2 launched in a very bad state. 2018 rolls around, they come out with Curse of Osiris. It is a disaster. It is a terrible, terrible expansion. So much so that people just stopped playing it. It just wasn't a good time. And according to Bungie, they were 5 weeks away from shutting the game down entirely. Now, who knows what would have happened to Bungie as a studio if that would have happened, but we're not really here to talk about that. We're here to talk about like the health of Destiny 2. Fast forward almost 10 years later, and the game is now officially objectively in a worse state as far as player numbers go and player sentiment. Like this, I might have said these exact words to you in the past, but I am literally watching in real time the death of one of my favorite games ever. And it fucking sucks, man. I don't know what Bungie, and I've said this all before, I don't know what Bungie could possibly do to bring themselves back from the brink, but they just can't make a right decision since the final shape came out, or wrapped up, I should say. They just can't make a good decision. Now, on top of all of that, one of the content creators that I follow, probably one of the only Destiny content creator that I follow at this point, just because I like to keep up on the news and see what the state of the game is. He proposed an ultimatum, or I guess really just like a fork in the road as far as like what Bungie could do going forward. And he prefaces it with saying that both are going to be absolute hell to go through, but one of the two needs to happen. Number one is, and probably the simplest solution, is a Destiny 3. Everyone was expecting a Destiny 3 after the final shape wrapped up, but Bungie opted to keep on supporting Destiny 2. And originally I was okay with that, and that was largely because of like the systems overhaul that they were putting in place, and I'm sure you remember what I said about that. It needed to be done one way or the other, but it just wasn't enough to keep players involved, because like ultimately at the end of the day, you had to re-grind all the best shit. Like somebody like me that's dumped thousands of hours into Destiny 2, already having all of the best guns and gear, if I wanted the best guns and gear again, I would have to regrind everything from basically the ground up. And then this isn't even considering the fact that the new grind was arbitrary and just terrible. Like the grind was actually like awful. Like you play a raid, you're not getting the highest level loot that you can possibly get. Like you're getting somewhere mid-range, which is like kind of a slap in the face to a player. So what was I saying? Destiny 3, that was like the first option, right? And it's going to take a long time. You're going to need to, keep your head down and work. But it would be worth it at the end of the day. The other option here, at least that this guy proposed, was a Destiny Classic. Basically meaning you take everything that was in D1 along with, pretty much everything that's in D2, and you put it all into one game. The same way that do you remember old school RuneScape? They basically like, what was it? Evolution to Combat came out. Everybody absolutely fucking hated it. The game almost died, and then they basically turned over the creative decisions to the community almost entirely, where like everyone would vote on whether they wanted option A, B, or C, and whatever got the most votes or whatever, however they did it. Like that's what Jagex ended up doing. And this was actually the example that this guy used in his video as well. But his argument was, do that, make all the content that people have been asking for, because it's not like the Destiny community is quiet. But again, both routes that you choose, they're both going to be like a terrible thing to go through for the studio itself. And then on top of all that, actually, did you watch any of that video that I sent you that I said to watch, like for a talking point?
I saw some of it, but I didn't get a chance to finish it.
So it basically boiled down to the fact that this content creator that I follow, he goes by As right? And he's very vocal about like the state of the game and what they could do, and he tries to help. He's been to a bunch of Bungie summits and everything, and blah 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 blah. Some asshole on Twitter, like, I don't know what this person's relationship to Bungie was, but he wrote out like this whole thing about how it's too hard for Bungie to make X, Y, and Z changes. It would take a lot of manpower and resources, and it was, I don't have it in front of me, but it was in that ballpark. Like, you can't expect Bungie to do X, Y, and Z because it's just not feasible, and yada yada yada. To which As responded, and I actually completely agree with this. I'm not just trying to glaze this guy. It's just I happen to align with his opinion on this. To which he replied, "It is not our responsibility as players and ultimately consumers to make sure that you make a good product. Like, that's on you. You have to make the product the best thing that it could possibly be, give it to players, and if whatever we don't like, we're gonna fucking tell you, and it's up to you whether or not you want to change it. And if you want to change it for something better, then good, that's what everyone asked for. But if you actively decide to either ignore said feedback or do something completely different, then that's on you, Bungie. Like, you are the provider. You are the person that is making this product. It is on you to wow us, not the other way around. And if it is your choice to ignore in large the feedback that you're getting from basically the entire fucking Destiny community at this point, and you're just gonna keep on doing the same old thing that Destiny 2 has been doing for about 8 years now, with no true evolution of the game, like, what the fuck do you think is gonna happen here? Like, your game is gonna die worse death than it already is. And again, like the whole point of this boiled down to the fact that it's not the player's responsibility to like excuse Bungie because it's hard to make games. Like, no, like, that's your fucking job. Like, yeah, we know it's hard, but you still have to do it. So his whole proposal was either a Destiny 3 or a Destiny Classic. I would personally be fine with either one. I don't think either of those things are going to happen, but yeah, those are the cliff notes of that video.
Okay.
I was just curious to get your opinions on all that.
So my first opinion, and I'll get the pessimism out of the way first, is that I don't think Bungie has the manpower and talent to do either of those in a way that would please people. That's the first thing I'll say.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
Like, there's a reason that, I'm sure you've seen countless comparison videos. You lived through the different games, but even I can notice, like, the slow degradation of details and quality and art style and just all the small background polish that comes from talented individuals working on a video game just slowly
Actually,
go
let me
away
stop you
over
right
time.
there.
Yeah.
Let me stop you right there for a second. It's actually funny that you mentioned all of those like tiny little polishing details. Just before we hopped on air, I actually watched a comparison video of D1 and D2 side by side of just how much polish D2 lost coming from D1, and then like you really wouldn't notice it upon first glance. Even somebody like me who has like 2,000 hours in Destiny 2. I didn't play D1 for nearly as much as I have played D2, but I still have enough time in both of them to remember what each looks like. The small like itty bitty little details that really mainly boil down to like how do I articulate this? Well, one is sound design. The sound design between the two games are like night and day for the worse. Number two is probably like very small visual touches, but to the point where like it adds up to the sum of its parts, making this much more immersive world. And there are other things, but watching this side by side comparison of D1 versus D2, like it's pretty crazy how much overall polish and immersion they've lost along the way. But I'm sorry to interrupt. Please continue.
No, that's all I was saying is like that to get myself started here is like, you've noticed all those changes. I've noticed them even as just somebody looking on. Is just, it's indicative of a team that wouldn't be able to handle that. Now, yeah. I would say that the safest would probably be something akin to a Destiny Classic, because, that's a matter of going through your vaults and your content and putting something together that you can make it work. It has a lower cost, like you could theoretically do both these things, lead with a Destiny Classic, and who knows how many years from now you could get a Destiny 3, right? But I guess my answer. I don't think
that they have the studio or the talent to do.
No, I agree. That's why I led with it. But like ignoring the logistics behind it for a second, I think Destiny 1 would probably be the safer choice to lead with, because I do think that the biggest outcry, and obviously these two are linked and it's going to vary person to person, but the biggest outcry is like, what did you do to the game that I love, essentially? It's not where's the new content, it's you've gutted what I liked about the everything that came before it. So Classic would be the safer move, but like I led with, like you affirmed and we both make sure to keep mentioning, I don't know if they're capable of doing either, but it would be the Classic is what I'd lead with. And even then, if they did manage to say like, okay, we're going to do it, who's to say what the results are actually going to be? It's like you've heard me rant plenty of times about remakes and remasters not being faithful to the original content. Amplify that kind of effect by like 10 for like a recreation and mixture of all these older assets. Like there's people that still argue about WoW Classic to this day, despite the fact that it has a core player base, So, I guess the to wind down this long-winded rant of mine, springing from the rant of yours, is that Classic would be the way to go based on where they are right now. I think it's a lower hurdle for them to go across. I mean, don't get me wrong, you're gonna have people that are going to judge you much more harshly than they would a potential Destiny 3, because you are now dipping into the past that has been experienced. But it just makes a bit more sense to start there, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think that I would be okay with taking a very long hiatus and just waiting for a D3. I think as a Destiny fan, I think that is what I personally would like to see. And like, it's not like I don't have other games to play. I have a shit ton of games to play. I can keep myself occupied for like, take them 5 years, maybe longer, to come out with a worthy sequel. I think as a hardcore Destiny fan, or at least a once hardcore Destiny fan / player, I would be okay with just putting the series down for a couple years and waiting for them to make a Destiny 3. Now, that's all well and good in theory, but I don't think Papa Sony is going to even allow them to do either of those things.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Maybe if you
also.
maybe if you do an okay marathon, we'll consider not killing Destiny.
Oh God, that's like a whole other fucking can of worms. Jesus Christ! To be honest with you, I completely forgot about marathon until you just said something. I forgot that was a thing that was under Bungie's banner.
You were flashing back to simpler times.
But yeah, man, like I try not to bring it up every time we fucking record, but like the day before we actually do, there's always like some new low that Destiny has hit or whatever the case may be. I'm still gonna jump in and play the new expansion, Renegades. I think it's in December, just to see what they're cooking up, because, like I've said before, I've already paid for the year, not thinking that the game was going to like be a Zeppelin level disaster that it is now. So I'll still jump in and see what that's all about. I mean, I am a big Star Wars fan, but Star Wars is kind of tainted at this point, just thanks to Disney. So I don't know. I am so like, I am a rung above apathetic, if that makes sense. And
I gotcha. Yeah.
I would like to not be that.
Yeah.
So, anyway, yeah, Destiny 2 has hit a new low, and I don't think if it weren't for Sony, I think that Bungie would probably be calling it pretty soon. That's my 2 cents on that whole thing. Anywho, that is everything that I personally have. What else you got?
I mean, Evo France is going on.
You sound so unenthused about that.
Because, like, as much as I like to be, you know, oh, I just go and I play my fighting games with Harrison and whoever else will have me. I have a couple of buddies that, you know, I have my outlets where I can play the latest and I can play the old good stuff, and I can play all the stuff, and I don't hurt for fighting partners, right? I still get fighting game community stuff in my feed, and I'm still like cognizant of the discussions and like the people and all the stuff, right? And I'm just basically, so Evo France is going on, and right off the bat, just to kind of clear a clear thing right off the bat is that as far as announcements, it was kind of limp for the most part. SNK kind of carried the thing again. They announced, they didn't announce, but they showed gameplay for the next DLC character, and wouldn't you know it, another shadow drop. Boom, the DLC character was out already. So SNK is just, they're great. The SNK is doing really well. You know, I don't know if it's the Saudi money or just the fact that they're really just trying their darndest, but good for them, because the little spark of enjoyment I get is watching them announce and seeing new content from them almost immediately. They also announced a port of an older game. I'm not going to bore you with the details on that, because I will mention it once and you will never hear about it again. Other than that, nothing's really going on. Tekken got a new character announced and shown off, and everybody's angry, but also they love the character, but also they hate the character, because Tekken kind of has a hate loop going on like Call of Duty does. It's just at that point where it's snowballing. I don't know how they recover from it.
Hate loop.
Yeah, the guy that's been in charge of the series, I mentioned it before, Harada, he had a very weird, vague post where he's just like, I may not be able to talk to you guys for a while. You know, so until next time we meet, I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, you know, everybody's talking about, oh, he's getting ready to leave. Tom keeps messaging me about how he's ready to leave. It kind of sounds like he very desperately wants to leave. And then, like, the next day he's talking about how his kidneys aren't working all that well, or the function is down. I'm like, is this guy gonna die? Like, what's going on with this? But whatever. It's just a drama pit. Tekken is a drama pit right now. Street Fighter's got nothing going on because their next character comes out in like 2 days, so they got nothing to show, and it's like, okay, it was whatever. But we're here to talk about the community, because that's a lot more, you know, who doesn't like gossip and shit like that, right? So there are two main takeaways from Evo France and all the stuff's going on, and I've seen some crowd reactions, and I've seen, you know, enough comments about it, and the two reactions are, I'll say this one first, even though it's more of a punchline, but I'll say it first. The first one is, man, I fucking hate the Saudis, because, like, I saw one guy, I think I linked a screenshot, like, this one guy's just, like, I didn't link his comments, but, like, he posted he got out of the tournament because I guess he I don't know if he drowned in pools or if he was on the main stage or whatever, but he's just like, did you know the people that own this ordered assassinations and blah 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 blah, and I'm just like, so you paid to go there? And then he's talking, oh, I didn't know I was funding blood money. So you have that group of people who just hates the Saudis, right? They're shitting on this one old school player because he does food vlogs and he was eating in Saudi Arabia, so like they're shitting on him, like, why would you do this, you fucking sell out, you know? So all like he's a multi-tournament winner, but all of a sudden that doesn't matter because, you know, he ate in Saudi Arabia, and I'm just like, it's the crowd that he wanted, whatever. The second takeaway from Evo, aside from all the gossip and the slander and the geopolitical situation of the fighting game community, is I've heard people say, it's like, wow, Evo France feels so good. It's like the grassroots of old. It feels like it did in the 2010s. And I'm just like, I feel bad for the French, because basically what that means is, as the French fighting game community scene grows a little bit from this, because that's a big deal for them. Like, regardless of how I feel about Evo and how Evo's kind of been trending on the downturn, having that massive tournament in that space, in your backyard, so to speak, does wonders for your community, regardless of how many people actually stay or not. It's going to help them a little bit. But, like, what that leads to when people are saying, oh, it feels like the grassroots of old, that's not going to lead to other tournaments across the globe feeling like the grassroots of old and going back and return to tradition and all that kind of stuff. What it's going to lead to is everybody shitting up Evo France, the French scene, so that it feels just as shitty as everybody else. And that was really all I had to say, is like, there's a light glimmer that comes from the fact that you just kind of dropped a major tournament series into the middle of what's essentially nowhere, and it's going to get snuffed out immediately because all these fake positive people and hype beasts are gonna shit up your community year over year with Evo France, and it's not going to feel like it does this year, next year. And that's really it. I mean, my story, my whole thing about the fighting game community is I just sit around and I look and I watch everybody try and hold these inconsistent beliefs about what the community represents and what they want out of it, as more of the people who were around for, you know, what essentially got them to this point are not present anymore. So it's like, even if I'm not even talking like, oh, you need your roots, that kind of thing. I'm just like, the people who know the history aren't there. So it's just everybody arguing about shit they don't know about as they get like squeezed for more, like, what's it called? It's not capital. What is it called where it's just like worth, you know, like, what the fuck is it called? It's squeezed for whatever they're worth, I guess you could say, right? And it's just, I don't know, I'm so sick of seeing these people that hate normal people go to these tournaments for games they don't really care about, to talk about how much they don't like some foreign government that they just paid for the pleasure of telling them they don't like, flying there from whatever country they already shit up. I don't know. Like, there were people complaining that Evo France was being commented on in French. What? like that's the kind of mentality these people have. They're so entitled and they don't know what they want, but they want it all unless you give it to them from a source that they've been programmed not to like. And I'm just like, I guess I'm one of the benefits of not really interacting with the community or being part of it right now is I have the moral high ground because I'm not interacting with any of this. You can't stick anything to me. But it's just, I don't know. Evo France is I think it's done now, and it's just like, okay, SNK had a few neat things. I think Tekken is dying or could die. I think Tekken's in a better place. I think the Tekken developers are dying, and you know, pasty white guys in their 20s are upset that the bank they've been begging for years is coming from, you know, the people they sold out to. I don't know, man. Every time I rant about the fighting game community, I kind of just go in circles because I'm trying to chase them going in circles with like their logic and whatnot. It's just like, gotta pick a lane. Better pick that lane before the fucking bubble bursts, because you're either gonna need to be able to hit the ground running for that next bag, man, the next payout, or you gotta be ready to go back to grassroots, because this is just not tenable and it's retarded.
Yeah, I wish I had something to add to this.
I mean, it's just ranting.
I know nothing about it.
Yeah, you only know as much as I tell you, I guess, but
yeah,
you know the types of people I'm talking about. And
I'm aware.
They ruin what you like. They ruin what I like. Only with what I like, there's a community element involved. So it's yeah.
Because fuck you. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I think that about does it then.
Let's
see. That, ladies and gents, was episode 75 of the Pregame Network podcast. So if you are still sticking around, thank you very much for listening.
Mm-hmm.
And as usual, we shall see you next week.
Yes, indeed.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.